Burlak here to entertain you with the help of Marty Simon. Yo hey oh, humbare. Yo hey ra ya rudanji. Yo hey oh, humbare. Yo hey ra ya rudanji. Yo hey ra Yarum Rudanji. I'm sitting on a exercise ball I found at the Goodwill. It's slightly larger than the one I had. I gotta tell you, man, I'm finding that these exercise balls, the best chair I've ever sat in. Better than a couch, better than a recliner, better than anything. I think I'm gonna keep sitting in them from now on, especially for when I'm watching a program, which isn't that often these days. Anyways, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking about Lexx, the third season specifically, and my reflections up to this point on this, since my last video I made about it. So, I'll start with an episode called Key, which basically is because of the Stan character has the key to the Lexx in his hand. He got it at the point of a heretic's death. It was transferred to him in the beginning of the series. But from a storytelling standpoint, I understand why they had to do it this way. In order for the key to transfer from one person's hand to another, it's got to be at the point of death or the point of sexual ecstasy. How convenient. Now, it's not necessarily weird to me, but I do find it dumb that the Stan character is still expressing and having and expressing physical interest in the Zev character. I mean, at one point, the actor, and hats out to Brian Downey, who plays Stan. It really got to be a pretty challenging role to take on. But at one point, he does this kind of suggestive move. Like clicking his teeth at the Zev character, and I'm like, buddy, what are you doing? It's just like, to me, they're now in this contents of the stories in the series. To me, they're like brother and sister, or cousins, or friends. So I don't understand why he's still expressing interest, especially since she's never expressed interest in him. Why would a man? But for the show, because they had to do it this way because he temporarily has to transfer the key to Zev, or what he thinks is Zev, who's actually Prince. Like I said, spoiler alert. Anyways, that's one element to the whole thing I found hilarious. It's, once he's like, once you're done, and you got to give the key back to me. How are you going to achieve sexual ecstasy? Because I don't do it for you. Zev, or rather Prince, in disguise as Zev, says, simple, I'll bring myself to physical ecstasy. And Stan's like, you can do that? And I'm like, buddy, grow up. But like I said, the twist is, at this point in the story, it's not really Zev. Zev's still stuck on planet Fire, unbeknownst to them at this point. But on the last video, when I said that Prince, the character, has no association with the color purple, well, it turns out that's not 100% true, because one of his monkey boys in the series wears a purple hat. All right, so, but Fire and Water, or Heaven and Hell, if you prefer, they're both interesting planets. Amazing things can happen on both of them, but both still have limitations, and therefore, in time, become meaningless. Which I think says a lot about the glory of the God in real life, the creator of this universe and everything in it. But as a viewer of the show, I now just want them, up to this point, until now in the series, the question is it right or is it really right to destroy either of these planets, fire and water? You know, assuming that water does in fact represent heaven and fire hell, it's still up to this point in the series a question: is it really right to destroy either one? But at this point, as the viewer of the program, I just want them to blow up both of them. Let the Lexx eat the chunks and get the nutrition the Lexx needs so he can fly again, and go explore and see what the rest of the quote dark universe has to offer. I don't want this video to be too long, but I did want to touch on one episode. I still have 3 episodes to go in season 3, but the episode Battle, I wanted to touch on some of the dialogue, specifically between the Zev and Prince character. The Prince character instills memories of her upbringing, growing up in a box, being trained to be the perfect wife. He basically is trying to get her to succumb to her own life's sorrows and embrace her hate for the world. But at the same time, it makes this whole thing funny. He's still interested in knowing if she still has love for him, because at the start of season 3, she actually falls in love with this Prince character. And I thought that was interesting, especially if this Prince character does in fact represent the Prince of Darkness. But I have to say, I really love this series, but there are certain points in season 3 that are kind of, as a viewer, they're kind of frustrating. You kind of get frustrated. It's like, you know, they get off fire, they get on the water, then they get off water and fire, they get back to the Lexx, and then there's a problem, the Lexx can't fly, it needs to eat. and it's really frustrating because I want them to just, as the viewer, you want them to leave both of these places and just move on. But nevertheless, it's still an intriguing show. If fire and water both on both of those planets, dying is no big deal, no big thing, because the person dies and then just wakes up and they're fine and they're back. It's like death is meaningless on both of these planets. I come to the conclusion that I personally think that hell, I think this is the same conclusion I came to watching the show, specifically season 5, which I know wasn't popular, of the show Sliders. I came to the same conclusion watching that series, that hell is, in fact, hell is not so much a place, but to me, hell is indecision, indecisiveness, purgatory. That to me is hell. Maybe it's because I'm a man, I was born with a male brain, but that's how I see that. And if fire and water, if they represent a very primitive human concept of hell, and yes, kids, even heaven. Some people think, their idea of heaven is all your wants and needs are met in an instant, and and I would argue maybe even the human concept of unison peace is maybe too limiting for the Almighty. Something George Carlin said once in a skit, where he's talking about how these religious stuff, like, there's a God, and he's got a place for, there's this the list of rules that God wants you to follow, and if you break one of these rules, he got a place for you'll burn and suffer for all eternity. And he loves you. And George kind of like, and this is so limited to this mind that we have, this brain that we have. It's just so limited. And it reminded me, I'm going to just end with this, it reminded me of a meme I came, or something on social media I came across that said, prayer, the original wireless connection. Whoop, there it is. All right, Mike Perlak. I gotta go to work. Thank you for your time.